With PowPop, I do not claim ownership to any of the following movie footage used in this review, and this footage is owned completely by the copyright holders. Movie footage used in this review is meant to entertain and criticize under fair use. There's a lot of franchises that resonate with me on a level far more than just sheer enjoyment, a much more personal level. Bakugan, Power Rangers, Godzilla, Transformers, and even the recent Five Nights at Freddy's. But there is one huge franchise that has been a crucial part of my upbringing, and we just got a big Hollywood movie for it, and I want to talk about it. Pokemon is a franchise that is very important to me. Honestly, my earliest memories are of me with my face crammed into my Game Boy Color with Pokemon Yellow. Needless to say, I'm a huge fan. I mean, I have you know, I went to see Pokemon Live back when it was released in 2000.
Now you can be there as all your favorite characters come to life in this on-stage musical adventure. It's the only place to see a brand new Pokemon with amazing powers.
Asserting my dominance, my dear Pop. May 10th, 2019 saw the release of the first ever big-budget Hollywood film adaptation of Pokemon. Detective Pikachu, directed by Rob Letterman, stars Justin Smith as Tim Goodman and the one and only Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu. And I gotta say, I had a pretty good time. This is especially surprising considering how not on board I was when this movie was first revealed. I was not, and never have been, on board with the idea of hyper-realistic Pokemon designs. I think it takes away from what makes Pokemon charming and unique. Another thing that was going against this movie for me specifically was mainly I still don't think there will ever be a piece of media that will ever top Pokemon Origins. This special, while yeah, definitely another example of Kanto pandering, just encapsulates everything I love about this series and gave me what I want out of a more realistic and mature Pokemon world. For better or for worse. So, with that being said, what's my opinion of Detective Pikachu? It was good. The movie was fun, and I sat there really feeling like this movie was made as a love letter to fans of Pokemon, both young and old. It was fun to see all the little details put into Rhyme City and see what Pokemon might pop up next. And going off of that, I'm glad I managed to warm up to the design aesthetic of the Pokemon. I'm still not a huge fan, but in the final movie I think all the Pokemon look great. Except Charizard. I'm sorry, I'm really not a fan of this design. It's also awesome the variety of Pokemon in the movie. There's at the very least 2 Pokemon from each gen. Gen 5 had a surprising amount of representation too, including one of my favorites, Audino. What could I say? It's cute. I only mentioned that last part because Gen 5 is actually my favorite gen. Have fun in the comments. I was surprisingly invested in Tim Goodman's arc. I think it was a good idea to have this character be just an average guy doing an insurance job and then slowly opening up to the beautiful Pokemon world around him. It definitely resonated with someone like me who's become older and definitely has had to focus on more adult things in life. And I'm sure a lot of people resonated with that too. Ryan Reynolds was also pretty fun, doing his always famous one-liners and quips. Now, do you remember how I mentioned that this movie is a love letter to Pokemon fans like me? I mean that as both a positive and a negative. To be really honest, I don't see this film swaying over any older people who just have never cared or had any interest in the series. And I did feel at points this film definitely was made to appeal to kids first. Not that I didn't expect this, but there's some aspects to the movie itself that just wasn't up to snuff from a filmmaking standpoint. I found myself definitely having a bit of a tug-of-war with some parts of this movie. I loved the heavy neon aesthetic for Rhyme City, especially some of the way the city is lit up at night, but there were sometimes I honestly felt the camera would just go out of focus unintentionally like a mark was missed. I also genuinely enjoyed the acting in the film. At the same time, it kind of bothered me that it either explained too much through dialogue or they showed too much in the trailers. The trailers for this movie, while it didn't seem like it, kind of really showed beat for beat the film. Like, there are 2 emotional scenes with Tim and Pikachu, with one of them even being Pikachu potentially dying. But I knew there were scenes later, so it was kind of hard for me to be emotionally affected. This also goes for the actual character of Detective Pikachu as well. I don't know what happened, but I feel like so many of his lines were straight up in the trailers. Not to say they didn't have any great new moments. I never knew how hard I would laugh when I saw Pikachu wielding a knife in an official Pokemon film. This isn't entirely this specific movie's fault. This is just kind of a problem with a lot of modern films, but I do feel it's necessary to mention. The villain's goal of the film was also incredibly outlandish and I would argue made no sense, but I was kind of strangely on board. The main villain is revealed to be Howard Clifford, played by... Bill Nye? Bill Nye, I think that's how you say his name. His end goal is to transfer himself into the body of Mewtwo and then forcibly transfer human consciousness into the bodies of Pokemon. That's kinda messed up the more you think about it. There's a gas called R that Tim and Pikachu are hunting down throughout the film that make Pokemon lose their free will and go berserk. And apparently Mewtwo can transfer a human into the body of a Pokemon who has no free will or who has given up their will. I don't remember that being a thing, but okay. This plot point actually foreshadows the big reveal at the end of the film, being that Detective Pikachu was actually Tim's missing father. And yes, Ryan Reynolds himself plays Harry Goodman when he returns as a human. Also, I'm mentioning here because I didn't write this down in the script, I felt like such a dummy that I didn't see the twist with Ditto happening. That makes so much sense. How did I not see it coming? Detective Pikachu is fun. It's not any kind of groundbreaking piece of cinema, but it's not trying to be. It's at first a film for fans of this universe, for better and for worse. I appreciate them making a self-contained story just set in the Pokemon universe rather than trying to adapt the story of Red and Blue. Putting this into my movie scale, I give Detective Pikachu
trash, bad, mediocre, below average, average, good, great,
a 7 out of 10. Finally managed to get another Screentime video out. These take a ton of time to make and a lot of energy, so I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did, please consider liking this video, and if you haven't already, subscribing to PowPop! Now, I wonder what my next big review might be and when it'll happen. Hopefully sooner rather than later? I'm Lucas Pow, and keep popping.